So my mother is from Louisville, and so I had family down there, and I always loved Louisville athletics. Growing up, that was who I always rooted for, and so I always idolized Rick Pitino in that regard, and so it's honestly a miracle that I was even a manager at Louisville. I knew nobody, and a lot of the managers at Louisville were somehow connected with Rick Pitino, whether there was their dads were friends with him or a company or some type of there was a connection. So, like I said, I was going all out for it. So I went and stayed with my family, my mom's family down there the summer before my senior year of high school. And I just lived with my aunt and just tried to meet people, just trying to figure out how I could make a connection. And so, it's kind of funny just how kind of God works. So I was taking my cousin down to football practice every day in Louisville and just doing whatever my aunt and uncle were telling me to do. And so one of the coach's son, I would babysit him while they were practicing. And so about one of the last days before I was supposed to go home to Michigan for my senior year of high school, I hadn't made any connections. I hadn't made any. And so the coach, the high school, the football coach came up to me and was like, "Hey, the way you take care of my son, I've been paying attention. I can tell you're like a genuine person. And I know one of the assistant coaches at Louisville, and your aunt said something about you want to be a manager there. I'll make a phone call right now and I'll get you a meeting." I was like, "Oh, no way." So we were standing right there. He picked the phone up and he called Steve Masiello, who was an assistant at the time. And Steve was like, "Yeah, have him come in." And so I came in the next day, sat down with Steve and had a great conversation. And he was like, "Yeah, you can be a manager next year." So I left the next day and went to Michigan. But I literally didn't know a single person on the staff. And, God worked a miracle for me to even get in front of the right people. And so I didn't apply to a single school out of high school. Louisville was the only school I was going to. It didn't matter if I got into Harvard. I was going to Louisville to be a manager and to chase the coaching dream.
But we didn't have to worry about you getting into Harvard, right? Let's not lie to our listeners, because they're good people. This is a family show, so
I can see you now, or just like the thought comes over my head, and I would be doing the same thing. If I had to wait a whole year, you got that meeting with them. I get to see you going back to Michigan and having a calendar up on the room, and every day you wake up, all right, 364 more days until I get to be a manager at Louisville. 300
like Happy Gilmore.
Yeah,
I was so excited.
This hockey season got to get tough.
Yep. I was so excited. And I would call Coach Masiello like every month and a half, every 2 months, like, "Hey, I'm still good, right? I'm still good. Yeah, you're still good. You're still good." And I went, a lot of kids wouldn't go till, they started the fall semester. I went summer one. I was there the first day the guys were there, and I was in the trenches just from the very beginning, wanting to get my start. And so that was it. That was all I wanted to do. I didn't care.
Were you starstruck at all when you your first day?
I wouldn't say I was. I wouldn't say I was starstruck. Obviously, I knew all the guys just from paying attention and following them. But I think that's something that managers really struggle with, especially at the high major level, is like having the feel, like I say, to just understand that these are regular dudes. They don't want to, when they step out in the public, that's how everybody else treats them. So you can't, as a manager, treat them like that. You can't be, oohing and on over them. You're there to do a job, so you got to do the job. And so, once you get to know them and they're normal people, and I always tell aspiring managers and managers who come on our staff is it's a family. Nobody's going to treat you any different. Yeah, you may be doing some jobs that are, sweeping and cleaning and some low level jobs, but nobody thinks of you any different, so it's all about putting your pride to the side and understand, as far as a program and a team, everybody has a job. So everybody should do whatever their job is to the best of their abilities, and it all will work out the way it's supposed to work out, because we all know, because we've been managers, that a program cannot function without them.
Nope.
It cannot function without managers. And so me being one and being in your guys' shoes before, I always try to treat you guys the right way, because I've been there and I understand what you guys are going through. And I know the demands, the time, the balancing act of academics and your personal life and the basketball aspect. And then, you know, it's tough because you're kind of in the middle of, you have a relationship with the coaches, but you have a relationship with the players, and then having the trust between the both of them. And that's where it can get kind of interesting with guys, is some guys want to just be the players' boys and go out with them. Well, as the staff, we kind of look at that funny. But then there's the guys who are the managers who are so tight with the staff and are snitching on the players, then the players are looking at you a different way. So there's this middle ground you have to tread as a manager. And so that's where you have, whenever you get started as a manager, you have to get that feel of what the balancing act of, all right, yeah, there might have to be a few things that I don't necessarily tell the staff about. And there may be some things I don't tell the players about that the staff may be saying. So that's an important aspect of the job that you have to understand going in.
Beautiful, beautiful. I never had that problem about being a fanboy, right?
You were one of the worst. This is the honest truth. You were one of the biggest fanboy managers I've ever come across. Even at Louisville, even as big time as those NBA guys. And I shouldn't say you were necessarily a fanboy. You just knew what you were talking about, and you did your research, which I respect, because you understand like who everybody was, what their background was. So that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you had conversation points that you could talk to people about. Now a lot of people don't do that, and it's awkward. Like, oh, hey, who are you? But you could, how was State? How was Louisville? How was your time there? Last year at State during that game, what'd you think? That's where it's never a bad thing to be over prepared. So I respected you for it.
Did I grow out of it at all?
Yeah, I'm so proud of how much you've grown. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Well, hold on now. Did Spenser grow at all?
Spence has grown tremendously.
Or he was always elite, I'm sure.
He was always what?
He was always elite. He was always top notch.
Spence was. He was very polished whenever we got there. So we never had to worry about Spence. We knew whatever was going to happen was going to get done.
Well,
but you had that to worry about with me for sure.
I had already had 3 years of experience before y'all already came. I've been to 2 different schools. So I mean, yeah, when I got to Wilmington, it was different times, but that's for another day. But
Spence was a great manager for us. I mean, he should be proud of the turnaround. That's the thing. Spence was at the lowest of lows, and he was at one of the highest of highs. And that's how you can really be like, man, that was a good time.
Definitely.
I was sitting in my office the other day, and I watched the CBI game. I just watched it again because I was sitting there, had about an hour and a half to free time. And I was like, man, like we really accomplished something. Like, and you were talking about how we, everybody respected everybody and how much of a family it was. I mean, I think everybody on our team realized how much work we put in. Mm-hmm. I mean, whether it was, doing laundry or rebounding, like those guys respected our time as well. And that's a big thing. Like, I know we were probably there at some hours we didn't want to be there, but it was when we were available and the guys were available too. So you kind of had to work hand in hand. And that's what made it so rewarding in the end.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge.
Can we go back to the Louisville topic for just a second? Because that's, that's in my mind would be maybe the high point of your coaching career, or at least, that's, you win a national championship there as a manager. And we've discussed this, like, as a manager, it's a thankless job. There's not much glory in it. You're just happy to be a part of it. And so if you win, it's just the cherry on top. It's icing on the cake because you're not promised that. Mm-hmm. So tell us about, well, obviously being a manager there. I mean, we know, we've talked about all the things managers have to do, but some interesting manager stories you might have, and obviously, reaching the ultimate goal while you're there.
It's a lot different at the high major level than it is at the mid major level, because you have a few more bodies to help you. So it was right around 10 guys every year. And, there was only a few guys who really wanted to coach at that point. And so, but I'll just speak on as far as the time I was there. it was basically the all-time winningest time ever in Louisville basketball, besides obviously when Denny Crum was there, those, good teams. But that span that we had, I mean, we won 30 games, I think 3 years or something like that. It was unbelievable. And just to be able to be on the ride and to be in the locker room and to be on the trips and to just witness it, that time like really got me the bug. It really got me the bug. Like, man, when a team comes together and everybody does what they're supposed to do, just the camaraderie and just that drew me to really want to coach. And so I knew when we won the national championship, it was a very euphoric feeling. But like I said, I never did anything to win it, but just to be a part of it and running on the floor with the confetti and cutting the net and being on the stage, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And just to be a part of it, I knew at that point, the chances of me ever doing it again were very slim. Coaches chase it their whole career and some never, ever, ever get it. And so I knew at that time I had to cherish the moments of it. So I did, I really did. I cherished every moment I could, and I took as many pictures and, kept all the memorabilia I could, because I knew I might never ever get there again. And so, as far as jobs, I mean, I did everything at Louisville. I mean, I did laundry. A lot of schools have equipment managers now. We had one, but he didn't really necessarily do the laundry. That was the manager's duties. So I did laundry. I did Coach Pitino's laundry. He would work out a couple days a week or a couple times a day. So he would leave a bag in his office with his laundry, and I'd go in there every night, do his laundry. And so, I did that. I did a lot of video stuff. I videoed practice. I broke down practice. We had to run the clock. We had to stand in practice with a towel, and, we practiced for a little longer than most programs did. And so, you'd be getting tired. Your back start cramping. And, we did individual workouts. We do them at UNCW, but at Louisville, like, we were involved in them. Like, you had to guard the guys one-on-one. I'm guarding Russ Smith and Peyton and all them guys to try to get them better. And so, I was in the best shape of my life during that time, because I was participating in things and doing 3 or 4 workouts a day. And so, one thing that people don't really think about, and that, because we chartered everywhere, when the charter came back at 2 or 3 in the morning, there had to be managers to meet the plane. So we would team up with, we would take turns, but on a Tuesday night, somebody would have to go there and meet the plane with the van to load up all the gear. And so, there was long nights. There was nights I was doing stuff till 2 or 3 in the morning, having an 8 a.m. class. And so, that was all I did. I never went out. I never partied. All I did was basketball in school, and I was okay with that. And that's what I wanted to do. So I didn't care. And I never went home in the summer to go home to be with all my buddies. I stayed in Louisville, and I helped whatever needed to be done. And so that obviously helped me whenever I was trying to get a job when I graduated. But I did everything and anything you could think of during my time there. And one thing I always tell managers is, listen, you're going to be asked to do some ridiculous things, but you just got to do it. And that's just part of it. It's part of being a part of a program that a lot of things, like, I've picked people up from the airport. I took Coach Pitino's wife to the airport. I've had to go to Coach Pitino's house and help with his Christmas tree. It's just like, you never know. And you always had to be available. And I'd be on date nights, be at a movie, and I'd get a call or a text, hey, I need you to come over here. Can you help me with this? Yeah, I could have said no. But then, you know what? Then I would have broken the trust of some of the assistants and some of the other guys, and then I would have maybe fallen out of their good graces. So whatever anybody said they needed from me, I did it. I didn't care what it was. And I worked on Christmas Day almost every year, because we played Kentucky always like around the 27th, 28th of Christmas. And, we were practicing, whether it was early in the morning so the guys could have the afternoon, or Christmas night so the guys could. So it didn't matter, man. I was going to do it and try to put myself in a good situation to be in a spot to get a job whenever I was graduating. So all the jobs that I did, you guys have done them all. So let me ask you this question. What's the most ridiculous thing you guys have had to do?
Oh man.
You're going first, Caegan, by the way.
Well, ridiculous. I don't know if I've done
Okay,
anything.
just like unexpected then. What's the most unexpected thing that you never thought it would be included in managerial duties?
Well, I mean, the one that I remember because it was very early on, I did what you did. I came during the summer because, I had that goal in mind of, getting involved and that kind of thing. And so I was there and I hadn't been there long. And I think it was, I don't know if you asked me, I think actually, no, our boy Jack Mertens asked me to take one of our players to the airport. And I come to find out later that they went to the beach that day. So they were picking on the younger manager, which is fine. I mean, I was at the bottom of the totem pole and that's fine. But yeah, I had to take him and we have an airport in Wilmington, but he had to go to Myrtle Beach, which is a good hour and a half away. And it was in the dead heat of August. It was about 100 degrees out. And my car, which that car didn't know me anything. I mean, it was running on 2 wheels. I mean, and the engine was smoking. And I mean, we had to roll the windows down. He had his shirt off. He was sweating. It was so bad. And I had to drive him for an hour and a half. I didn't even know the guy to the airport. And it was awful. It really was. And I was like, I have to do this. And they were texting me like, man, this is going to pay off for you in the long run. I was like, I don't know about this one.
Hey, I respected you after you did that. Just so you
And
know.
there's probably a crazier one, but that's the one that sticks out in my mind.